Welcome to the replay. Tonight we're talking about stress, it's a week before the holidays. How do you get rid of a little bit of that stress that might be accumulating? And tonight, these are kind of like last minute survival tips that I'm going to get you. They're low cost or no cost, which to me, no cost is one of the even better things. My name is CJ Johnson, and my passion is helping people who are over 40 to feel and look their best, live active, healthy lives, and age the way that they want to age. And I'm here every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Sharing with you some of the tips and strategies that I use in my life and that I encourage clients to use in their lives as well. And that's what this show is devoted to. Now, this is the actually sixth in a healthy holiday series. If you've missed the other ones, we've talked about what to do while you're traveling, how to keep a lid, so to say, on eating. Might want to review that one because, like I did say, Christmas is just around the corner, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of goodies everywhere. And also fitness trackers. We talked about how not only to pick a fitness tracker, get the best one for you, but also how to make it work, because that's one of the things that most people don't do is they buy one and it kind of sits on the shelf. So if you missed any of those, I will link to those in the show notes down below. Feel free to go back and watch those. But tonight we're going to be talking about some of those tips and strategies for to alleviate some of your stress. And by the way, if you haven't already gotten it, you want to stay tuned towards the end. I'm going to give you a link to a website. One of the best all-time guides I've put together is Hijack Holiday Weight Gain, tips and strategies and ideas, and even a free workout program on how to stay healthy and fit during the rest of the holiday season. Because even though it's only a week to Christmas, we still have 2 weeks to New Year's around here. Some of the kids are off for another week. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and get started, but I want to adjust my hat 1 second. By the way, the tiara, I just wanted to let you know that is a tiara, Santa hat with a tiara, kind of my favorite. Let's talk about pampering. Okay, so if you're feeling stressed right now, and I know that there's a lot of stress, where are you? What is your stress level? Are you pretty relaxed? Are you feeling pretty good? Are you coping? Or is it really kind of getting high or anxiety? Watch your stress level. How crabby and snappy are you at other people? Or are you kind and friendly? Is your heart maybe racing just a little bit? Try and be really aware of your stress level. And when it starts to get high, try 1 or 2 of these tactics. So as we go through this, write down the ones that really speak to you. And we're going to cover 3 things tonight. Is the 3 areas that will help you to alleviate some of the stress are learning how to pamper yourself just a little bit. For some of us, giving of ourselves to other people. And then the last one, I know as a society, I think we do a lot of this, is distractions. But here are some good, healthy, and kind of fun distractions. So let's go ahead and let's start with the pampering. So Pamper Time, this is one of my favorites. I love this picture. It is Santa taking a bath. Baths can be an amazing way to just unwind from the stresses of the day. And one of my favorite bath salt recipe is here. It's really simple. It's a cup of Epsom salts, a cup of kosher salt, a 1/4 cup of baking soda, and then about 5 to 6 drops of an essential oil blend that is called, my favorite is called Unwind. And it's a combination of lavender, which lavender is kind of like the Swiss Army knife of essential oils. It's known for its soothing and relaxing properties. But a lot of people aren't necessarily familiar with bergamot. That's a more citrusy smell, but it's also known for its relaxing properties. And these 2 are mixed together in this particular essential oil. And when I take a bath with them, there's just something that is so, I take those nice deep breaths in the tub, and it's so relaxing. It's relaxing on muscles after a day at the ski hill or a day of being really active. It's a wonderful way to unwind. And especially this time of year, I don't know about you, it's getting a little colder in some of our climates. Get in the tub and getting those muscles all nice and warmed up. And then every once in a while, I'll stretch after I get out of the tub and then hit the hay. I just sleep better. So essential oils, also bubbles. If you're not into essential oils or bath salts, how about some bubbles? There's some great herbal mineral baths. I've got another one, and I'll make sure that I link to that, as well as put this recipe in the show notes down below. But how about just a nice bubble bath? That can be such a relaxing thing to do. So take a bath. All right, let's move on. So another thing that sometimes we don't think about is just going ahead and journaling. Take a little bit of time for yourself. A journal can be a wonderful way to get out of ourselves. And one of the things that I do whenever I need an attitude adjustment, and yeah, maybe I know it's hard to believe I need an attitude adjustment, but I do. Whenever I need an attitude adjustment, I write a gratitude list. And my rules for my gratitude list are pretty simple. I write down 5 things that I'm grateful for, and during the course of the week, I can never repeat any of those same 5 things. And what that does for me is I look at my life differently when I'm writing that gratitude list, and in consequence, I treat people in my life differently. So take a little bit of time to journal. You're also going to notice in this picture, there's a couple other things that she's doing here that are some of my favorites as well. Tea, something soothing to drink. I have to tell you, if you give me, I love tea, but if you give me chamomile tea in the evening, I guarantee you, I am out like a light. Chamomile tea, I have a wonderful jasmine tea that I like as well. It comes in the little buds, they're about like yay big around, and it unfolds in the cup, and it has such a nice, smooth flavor. You can get loose teas at a variety of different places, but how about a cup of tea, or maybe you're into a hot chocolate or something like that. But again, something relaxing to drink where you can just take a few minutes and just maybe journal. If not, you can maybe do a little deep breathing, or just really kind of finding 5 minutes of quiet time for yourself. Moving on. Who doesn't like a good nap, right? I mean, I was talking about early in the pre-show, I was talking about this time of year, one of the ways that I pamper myself is I go to bed early because I'm tired at the ski hill. So, but how about just a little nap, especially in the middle of the day? It doesn't have to be real long, but what a wonderful way to unwind and forget some of the stresses of the day. Another one is meditation. So if you're not a meditative person, if you're not already meditating, it's kind of hard to develop that habit instantaneously. And I'm one of those people, I have always wanted to meditate. It's been on my list of things to do, and I've tried it. And when I meditate, I fall asleep. Now, I don't think that's the point of meditation, but that's what ends up happening to CJ. So I'm kind of giving up on the meditation. And one of the things that I do is I just sit very quietly and I focus on some deep breathing. And I'm sure I'll put some links below to some of the deep breathing exercises that I've used. But kind of one of the basic ones is just to feel like I'm breathing in through my belly up into my lungs, and then just to reverse that process. So just really kind of focusing on my breath. Even if I'm not doing something specific, if I'm just focusing on my breath, that somehow relaxes me as well. So a little bit of deep breathing. Now here's another one of my favorites that kind of go along with that. I don't think that anybody stretches like a cat. I have 3 cats. They move and they stretch. And if you watch a cat sleep, it's one of the most amazing things. They sleep, I don't know, estimates are 20 some hours a day. And they flip from one side to the other, so they never get sore, and they're never in the same time. And while they're doing it, they're sticking out an arm, and they're stretching here, and they're lifting up here, and they're doing all these things. But cats are amazing stretchers. One of the things that I do, when you stretch, you want to stretch while your body is warm. It's usually pretty warm when we wake up in the morning, right? We've been under the covers for a while. That's a great time, just even under the covers, to stretch out your body, lift your hands above the air, take some deep breath, start the morning. I don't know about you, but when I start the morning, there are times that my brain is just off and racing before I'm even awake, before I'm conscious. So by just dialing that back a little bit and doing a little stretching and taking a little bit of deep breathing in the morning, that helps me immensely. But stretching or yoga during the course of the day is phenomenal. Another thing that I love, you've heard me talk about it on this show before, is the foam roller. Foam rollers or balls or anything to roll out those tight muscles, especially if we tend to be out shopping and doing things this time of year, tired and sore feet. Grab a tennis ball, roll on the tennis ball, roll on your thighs from doing all of the walking, but take a little time to stretch and to go ahead and to use the foam roller. Now, another one that I love is just a little bit of acupressure. So what I like to do is in my hand, what I do is, you can see there, I grab in that same exact place that we're talking about. I'm trying to get this here. And just so I'm using my thumb and my forefinger to grab in between my thumb and my forefinger. And I just hold that and put some pressure there. I got to tell you, as I'm doing that right now, it is really tight. Doesn't surprise me. I was skiing all day, so I'm holding poles, putting a lot of tension into my hands. So I just kind of move that around. And then what I tend to do here is I tend to work my way up the wrist and into right here, just below the elbows. Tends to be really tight on most people. And I know I see a couple of pickleball players that are on here. This tends to be a really tight area here and underneath. So just give yourself a little self-massage. Another area of the hand that can be really sensitive is right along the pinky side here. I'm sorry, I'm kind of taking that out of frame, but right along the pinky side here, you'll feel that bone that goes into your wrist. And if you get in the muscle tissue just alongside that bone with your fingers or with your thumb, that's a wonderful place. In fact, I'm going to keep doing the hand massage while I keep talking. While I do this, another thing that I have is maybe like you have a diffuser. I talked a little bit about the bath salts a little earlier about aromatherapy and how that can impact us. There's so many wonderful things. The lavender family is certainly very relaxing. This time of year, another one, and it's great for focus and concentration. Frankincense. And there's a lot of things out there that have a frankincense type of smell, but a little frankincense inside of a diffuser makes me feel very, I wouldn't say awake, but it makes me feel very clear. And very clear and very focused. So a couple different essential oils inside of diffuser could be really well. One of the things that I do for my husband to help him to relax and unwind, he's not a great sleeper. I diffuse some lavender, some of the unwind blend that I was talking about. I put that in a diffuser and I just put it on his pillow before we go to bed at night. And he tends to sleep a little bit better. So those are the things. I think we're kind of done. Yeah, we're kind of done with the Pamper Time. So those are ways, again, to pamper yourself. Let's jump into giving. Giving of yourself. You know, doing something for somebody else this time of year can be such an important, it can be such an amazing thing to do. I love this just doing small things, just doing little things makes me feel good. And that can be as small as saying hi and, you know, giving somebody a warm hug and acknowledging them, because this time of year is really tough for a lot of people. It's not hard for me, so I don't have a problem sharing my sharing with people this time of year, and I know the people that receive it. It means a lot to them. So here are just a couple of the things that, you know, to think about in terms of giving. Maybe to visit some people who don't get a lot of visitors. Have a cup of coffee with them. Take just a little bit of time out of your day and give it to somebody else. That can be going to a home where you have elderly people. Maybe they don't have a lot of family, or their family is at a distance. Another thing can be spending time with kids. I'll tell you, reading to kids is such a big thing. We have a program here in Incline Village, and I forget the statistics, but when kids are not reading, at the appropriate grade levels in first, second, and third grade, it has a direct correlation to graduation rates and kids that get in trouble and things like that. So we have this huge program to help kids read at grade level. So just taking time of yourself to maybe to read to some kids, or to share just a little bit of time with them and get involved inside of one of those programs. Another thing that is, I'm big on animals. I love animals, and have a good friend, and I don't think she's on tonight. I'm going to take a little look. Yeah, she's not on tonight, but I have a good friend, Bev, who volunteers at our pet network. And how about like walking a shelter dog? That's huge. I mean, those dogs don't always get out, or going in and playing with cats at the shelter, or spending some time with the kittens. Those are things that you can take whatever is important to you, be it animals or the elderly or young kids. Take whatever is important to you and give of yourself. And I'm certain if you call some of these entities, there are opportunities this time of year to make sure that you get involved with them. So that's the volunteering part. I mean, some of my favorite other volunteering ways are, this time of year, prisoners, people who are in prison, sending cards to the prisons. How about the military? We got a lot of people in the military who are not going to be with their family and friends for the holidays, and some who don't have family and friends. Picking up and shipping a package to them, or just even writing a card. I love Christmas cards, but when I sit down and write Christmas cards, I usually send out about 10 Christmas cards a year. I pick different people that I know, and I write a long, personalized Christmas wish for that person about what they mean to me. And I kind of alternate and go through this whole group of people over a period of time. That's just what I do, and that's one of the things that makes me remember those people and just how important they are to my life. Another thing is animals. And I talked about walking with the animals and doing some stuff with the animals. But if you have a dog, go play with the dog. Take the dog outside. It's going to get you some physical exercise. You got some endorphins going. You're releasing some of that stress. There are studies showing, I love this little picture of this little boy with this cat. There are studies that have shown how much our blood pressure decreases and how much better we feel when we pet an animal. I have to tell you, I have a little cat. I have 3 cats, but Shirley is my softest cat. And she comes down in the morning. She comes and she sits in my lap while I'm doing my morning meditation, and I'm trying to get right for the day. And as she sits there, I pet her and I stroke her. And it feels so good. In fact, when she doesn't jump up, she jumps up almost every single day, but occasionally she doesn't. When she doesn't jump up, my meditation is just not quite as right. I love to have Shirley inside of my lap. So how do you donate? Do you donate your time to something? Is giving important to you? What are some of the volunteer opportunities that I missed? Go ahead, and I'm just going to take a look down at the comments below. Go ahead and feel free to share that in the comments if you've got something that is important, that's important to you. So we've talked now about pampering yourself. We've talked about giving of yourself, and certainly pretty much all of these, they really don't cost much money. So let's take this home and talk about distracting yourself. Occasionally, the best form of relaxation is just to get away from the stress that you are facing, right? Just to run away from it. And here are some of my favorite ways of distraction. I love this picture because this kid is doing it all, right? He's listening to music and he's playing an instrument. So for me, in my house, I love to listen to music. I've got different playlists and I'll put them on and I'll start dancing and moving around the house, and all of a sudden my whole mood has changed. For my husband is a guitar player. He loves to play the guitar. So for him, it's an instrument. But one of the things about music is it can just totally and instantly change our mood. So if you don't play an instrument, turn on some of your favorite songs and just listen to some of your favorite music. Take a deep breath, maybe go back and have that cup of tea or that cup of cocoa and just do a little relaxation. But that's a great way to distract yourself. Another one is movies. And I put these two in here for a couple of reasons. One is, so if you recognize the picture in the middle down below, that's Ralphie from A Christmas Story. You can't be doing a Christmas show without talking about you're going to shoot your eye out, right? It is one of my favorites. In fact, I think, is it TBS usually does a 24-hour Christmas Story marathon. So if you've never seen it, take a little time. It's quite amusing. Or watch one of your favorite movies. For me, and that's why I put this up there, it's an old Bette Davis movie. It's all about Eve. She has the classic line in there about it's prepare for a bumpy night. And I don't say it anywhere as nearly as sexy and as interesting as she said it, but an old movie. So pick one of your favorite movies and pop yourself some popcorn, have something to drink, put on your most comfortable pair of clothes, and just sit back and relax and prepare to be distracted for just a couple hours. It's a great way to do it. Another one can be reading, and I wish I had a picture of the library here in my town. It's got this great sitting area. It kind of does remind me a little bit of a coffee house. But the wonderful point about it is it's so nice and quiet. It's free to go to the library. Even if you got your own book, grab a book and go over to the library or pick up a book off the shelf and just sit and read. And I love to relish in the quiet. Another thing that I really like, our Starbucks has a wonderful little fireplace. It's amazing. After about 6:30 at night, it's really quiet. I'll go over there, have a cup of hot chocolate, or I also love a tea this time of night, put my feet up in front of the fireplace, take out my book, and just, even if it's only 15 minutes, right? It's 15 minutes of just nice, quiet, uninterrupted time, and I'm focused on something else. I'm focused on the book, so I'm losing that stress and that high anxiety feeling that I'm feeling. Now, this time of year, this is one of my favorite things, and I love it because I love it when family comes. I think I said I've got family coming tonight. They're arriving this evening. Be a tourist in your own town. Go out, go to a museum, go to an aquarium. John and I were just down in San Francisco, and this was one of the wonderful fun things that we did when we were down there. But when people come to Tahoe, I love being a tourist in Tahoe. We have a Thunderbird Lodge, which is this great old home that has this big wooden boat that has a aircraft engine on it. We have a bunch of different parks and places to go. So there's so many things that you can do that maybe don't involve museums, or we got a planetarium down in Reno. If you got kids, we got a Children's Discovery Museum in Reno. The way that I found those things to do in San Francisco is I let my fingers do the walking, right? I just played tourist. So play a tourist in your hometown. Go spend an hour doing something. I have to tell you, one of the things that was, so we went to the Museum of Modern Art when we were in San Francisco. One of the things that was very striking, it was busy. It was very, very busy. But how quiet it was as people looked and reflected on all the different artwork. It was really cool. So great place, again, to unplug and unwind. How about going to the zoo, watching animals go around? Again, back to the animal theme. But those can all be great places to, to just disconnect and just unplug. And speaking of disconnect, this is just one of the big ones, is how about just disconnecting for a half hour or an hour? How about just disconnecting from our phone, from our social media? I know it can be tough. I do so much business on the telephone, but then I know I get distracted, and sometimes I look at stuff I shouldn't, and sometimes I see things that upset me. And there's actually studies that are coming out now that shows that the more we're connected to social media, the more trouble we're having with depression and some of those things. So disconnect. Unplug, shut the phone off. Leave it off when you go to the movie and just do the movie or just do the museum. Be present. Just be very mindful of where you are and what you're doing. And disconnecting can be a great way to do that. Another thing is spending time with people. And this can be something that maybe, hey, I only have a few minutes to talk. But instead of texting, because I know we're in the age of texting and it's convenient and it's great and I love to text too, but how about just picking up the phone and talking to somebody on the phone and say, hey, I was thinking of you. How are things going? Tell me about what's going on in your life. It doesn't have to be a forever conversation. How about leaving somebody an actual old-fashioned voicemail, right? To think that voicemail is now old-fashioned. To tell them, hey, I'm thinking about you and I hope that you're doing well. Or perhaps taking a walk or going for a run with a friend. Just spending some time outside. Again, that gets back into that exercise and helps you to start to feel even better because you get all those exercise endorphins going on. So just distract yourself or go play some pickleball. We've talked about pickleball on this show before. That's a great distraction for a couple hours. Get out there and get active with it, but go ahead and distract yourself. So those are really the games then. That's another one that's big in my family is games. Anywhere from puzzles to maybe crossword puzzles, maybe you're a Sudoku player. For my family, it was always cards. In fact, Mom and Sis, as I told you, they are coming tonight. And I can tell you already, I've prepped up the cards. We're short one person, so if anybody plays Smear or any other card game, you're invited over to the house. My husband's not much of a card player. That's just not his thing, kind of never has been his thing. So we're short one person. Let me know. Put a comment down below in the text and I'll invite you over. I'll even cook. It's a great way to relieve stress. So distract yourself. So essentially kind of those are the three things to start wrapping it up here as a review is, think about ways to pamper yourself. What I'd love you to do is just to write down one of those ways that you think would really work for you because we're all different. Maybe you hate taking baths, but you love stretching. Or maybe you like to go to the shelter and you like to walk a shelter dog. Maybe you're allergic to animals, and for you, it's about reading a book or reading to kids or something like that. Pick one of those things. Try and do it for just 5 to 10 minutes and see if you have a little less stress. So if you think that'll work for you, go ahead. Give me a little bit of thumbs up down in the comments. And again, if you do have a question, make sure that you just put a question in front of it. And that way I know that it's a question. I did promise you that if you stuck around to the end, that I had a great freebie for you. It's Hijack Holiday Weight Gain. This is really, I want to say kind of like an ultimate resource. This is a 40-page ebook that's full of tips, strategies, ideas. It's even got a workout in it, so a free workout plan to help you to keep the weight off during the holiday season. Don't say it's too late. Don't say it's too close to the holidays. We're still 2 weeks away from the New Year's, and for some of us, kids are actually out of school till the 9th. So we can have these holidays ongoing through the 9th. Again, there's some great resources in this Hijack Holiday Weight Gain. You can go to agewellwithcj.com/HHWG to get yourself a copy of that. We're going to be back here. I'm going to be back here next Tuesday night, and we're going to have talked about how to recover after all the hubbub. And usually we eat just a little bit too much during the holidays, so I'm specifically going to be talking about how to recover after eating too much and get back on track after a hectic holiday season. In the meantime, I hope that you can take this information and apply it to your life, because I do know that together we can train smart, live bold, and age well. Merry Christmas.